I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up button. Also, let me know where you're watching from, city, state, and country. Thanks to the mods for being here tonight. There has been a lot of news going on today with the Nancy Guthrie investigation. So I'm going to update you on what we know. There are apparently some SWAT teams that have been deployed in the area, and they're out and about, armored vehicles, the whole 9 yards, and working to get some more information on that. But really, the big news today was video that came out of the perpetrators in this case, and it's stunning. It's really shocking and stunning. So, here we go. These are photographs, and I'm going to bring on Joe Jackalone, retired NYPD cold case sergeant. Apparently, I said the wrong day too. Sorry, guys. It's Tuesday. I don't know what day I said, so sorry about that. Joe Jackalone, we had this big breaking news. Apparently, I said it was the wrong day, but it is Tuesday night. What do we have here? We have photographs released by the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff in the search for Nancy Guthrie. And this stuff is actually, frankly, quite stunning. True Crime with the Sarge, make sure you subscribe to his channel. But Joe, these images, when you saw these today, what did you make of them?
Well, the first thing I thought of was that they've had these for a couple of days,
Yeah.
and what happens is, from law enforcement, when you're looking for somebody, you don't throw this kind of stuff out right away. You try to identify who it is and get them off the street. It's a good move though when you're unable to do that because you can't identify the person, so you put it out there to the public. It is a positive thing because the public has the means to be able to identify this guy. And the only problem is that you run into the risk of somebody going on the run or destroying evidence. That's the caveat of the whole thing about doing this. People say, why didn't they just put it out 3 or 4 days ago? That's the reason why they don't do it. They want to try to avoid that evidence destruction.
Do you think this had anything to do, since you believe they held on to these and they've had these images for a couple of days, and this is really scary stuff. I mean, this is from Nancy Guthrie's, this is from her Nest camera at her front door. The guy is holding up what appears to be some, shrubbery, weeds, whatever, from some plants at her house. So what is this?
Yeah, there's a video. There's a video aspect of it too. So he originally walks up to it, and he kind of knows that it's there, and he puts his head down, and he has his arm up, and then he comes up, and he tries to cover he puts his right hand, he tries to cover up the camera, and then he's trying to undo the camera with his left hand, and he's unable to do so. So he turns around, he goes back out underneath that arch, he pulls out this plant, or was it a weed or whatever it may be, and then he comes back and he tries to get that to stay on top of the camera so that he could use both of his hands to remove the camera.
Really terrifying stuff. There were a lot of people, including me, kind of wondering, doubting here. And let's look at that video. It's really stunning. Wondering, doubting, what is this? What is going on here?
Yeah, he's trying to remove the camera. He was trying to do it with his left hand. And if you notice, he's got that backpack, he's got his, we call it a murder kit, whatever it may be. He's got all the stuff in there. But if you notice, he's very careful when he's bending over not to lose balance.
Right.
So it's probably a lot of stuff in there.
And then he's got a weapon, what appears to be a weapon.
It appears to be a gun in a holster in the front of his pants.
They were having trouble getting this video, and now they have it. And you believe they've had it for a couple of days. I'm sure there was they expedited this, getting this out. My thing was, how was this? How we now know from watching this what part of what happened, at least. This may only be a smidge, a small portion of this video.
Yes. Yeah, so this whole thing is recorded, the entire event up until the point where the camera is removed.
So but I was thinking, did Nancy really even make it home that night? I was thinking that last night. and even over the weekend. Like, what happened to her? Did she make it home? I'm thinking of every possibility that could have gone on here.
Well, if you think about it this way, yes, she does make it home, and the reason why I say that is
Yeah,
because at
because we see
2:20,
this.
well, and not just that, at 2:28, her phone app disconnects from her pacemaker. So you have to be within close proximity of these pacemakers. So I did some research before we came on the show, and for pacemakers, because it's such an important tool to keep people alive, the distance is really only 5 or 10 feet away. And once you go 5 or 10 feet away, it gets disconnected. So you have to be really close to it. So that means that she was within close proximity up until that point at 2:28 when it no longer registers because the phone they find at the house. So that means either she walked out of there or her body was removed from the house at that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about pacemakers is it doesn't help you about location. It can only help you with time of death.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they can flip something on and find out where this pacemaker is. Because I've heard that conversation too, but that's from what I found on research doing it that's not the case.
Watching this is just it's just so creepy, and it makes you just. I mean, this is what Nancy Guthrie encountered. I mean, and this guy, masked man, wearing gloves with a backpack with some type of kit. I don't even want to know. I mean, actually, I do want to know. But it's terrifying to me what could have been in that backpack. What on earth would a kidnapper? Because I was questioning last night. I'm like, oh my God, is this even an abduction? I was
Well,
questioning
restraints,
that
yeah. I
last
mean,
night. Like, what would somebody who's going to abduct somebody have in a backpack? Obviously, like
res-
maybe tape, like,
yeah, restraints. Duct
yeah,
tape, belts. Could
zip
be rope,
ties.
zip ties. Yeah, I mean, the bag is pretty packed, so it might even have like a blanket in there. Maybe to put something over the person's head so they can't see what's going on. There could be a variety of things in there, but there's also some weight to it. You can tell, and the reason why he puts his, if that is in fact a holster and pistol in his front of him, is because if you got this knapsack on and you're carrying the gun on either your left or your right hip, if you move around, that knapsack interferes with it. So that's why he moved it to the front.
Mhm. Um, Here he goes.
So he comes in. As soon as he's first walking, he's putting his head down. He knows the camera's there already. He hasn't even.
Yeah.
He's about 3 or 4 feet from the and he's got a flashlight on him too. You could see this.
What do you make of that flashlight? Because I'm fairly certain that's in his mouth. We see that in
Hmm.
another shot.
Yeah, because he's trying to keep his hands free. So he's got this small little flashlight. He turns it off actually at that point.
This person had to have cased the place before. Maybe this person has even been there before.
I would say he's been there before, and I would, from the investigative standpoint, I would be asking Google to pull the last month, 45 days worth of video, and see if there's anything that matches his steps, because he's walking slow and deliberate. And there's also something too. If you zone in on his, or you could stop it where you could see his feet. He's wearing a special kind of sneaker. He's wearing the type of sneaker that runners wear with the toe in one section and the other four toes in another box, so it's separate. And it looks as if he's got a running sweat pants and shirt on, jacket on. So
Mhm.
I think these the clothing, the type of shoes that he has on, and his walk, I definitely think somebody could identify him that knows him very well in regards to this.
Mhm.
And I think it's already happening. I think the tips are already pulling in because we said, like you said, when the start of the show, SWAT teams are already rolling. They're already getting ready, so they could have gotten something. Let's say that they want to move on either tonight or in the morning. If they find something now, they'll move on it now. But I think they're waiting for all their ducks in a row, so to speak.
And I'm looking for the latest information regarding that.
Well, if you go to
I'm looking right now under the
You looking for the SWAT videos?
Uh, I'm just looking for the latest tweets about the SWAT. I know that some people actually have. I know that there are some people who actually have a feed up of the Skinner traffic. This is interesting. One tweet says that still no word on where SWAT is. Neighbors near Annie Guthrie's house say agents are asking to go through their properties. So that's just one unconfirmed tweet.
Yeah, you have
And
to
then
be mindful of some of the people that are out there. In situations like this, I tend to stick with the mainstream media people just to get the confirmation before putting
right.
stuff out there, because so often I see things being posted by people who are at the crime scene and it's like they're dead wrong.
Well, we know our friend Josh Ritter is there, Courtroom Confidential. So I'm going to put his video up. And he's working with Fox News out there as a contributor.
Josh is good people.
Yeah, he is. So this is the video he tweeted just a short time ago of the SWAT vehicles rolling out. This is Josh Ritter's video. Everybody, Courtroom
Yeah, they're
Confidential.
not going on a
Seen
pizza
Josh
run.
on here before. So Josh is reliable. We know that.
I lost the volume. I don't know if it's you or me.
Oh, can you hear me? What do you make, Joe? Can you hear me, Joe? Oh, Joe, can you hear me?
I'm gonna go out and come back in.
Oh,
But I
okay.
can't. I lost you.
So while Joe's doing that, while Joe's hopping back in and hopping out and hopping back in, let's talk a little bit about what they could be doing, because they're obviously going door to door. It sounds like, or searching certain properties or asking to search certain properties. You would only roll the SWAT team out. I mean, you're not gonna, you have to be safe about this stuff, obviously. And if somebody is holding a woman, an 84-year-old woman, and this is the subject of a nationwide investigation, this could be very dangerous. Very dangerous. So here, let's bring Joe back
Yep.
in. Joe,
Now
can
I
you hear
got you.
me now?
Yes, I can.
Just like the Verizon commercial says. We're not going to look at the pizza delivery from earlier. My God. So I'm looking for some other videos. But Joe, as I was saying, this is really serious stuff. So if you're going door to door and you're asking to search yards, and this is a nationwide investigation, they have to be safe. So of course they are going to roll out the SWAT team. They're not going to do anything that's going to endanger anyone.
No, but they also have to be mindful too that if they're going to be asking for consent to search properties, you kind of run into an issue where you're dealing with Fourth Amendment rights kind of thing. Once you go on the fourth, they can say, well, I got, and you find something, they can say, well, I was coerced, I was intimidated, I was this and that and the other thing. So they got to be careful with that. So getting search warrants in certain cases, or if they're zoning in on a property where they think these people might be involved in something, I would hope that they get the search warrant to do it.
What do you make of them going door to door searching yards and things of that nature?
Well, the only thing that I can think of is that the tips are rolling in. They're getting information, and they are now vetting that information. So somebody might have called up and said, "Hey, you better check out this guy's yard. I saw him in the middle of the night. He was digging holes at 3 o'clock in the morning." A lot of times people say, "Well, wouldn't this person have all this stuff going on? Wouldn't they call the police if they heard something like this?" The answer to that question is no. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people mind their own business. A lot of
Mhm.
people don't want to get involved. And then sometimes they think, well, I'm sure if the other neighbor will call, and they get this bystander effect. So yes, it's an important aspect to go back and recanvass the neighborhood. Originally, when I saw this, I thought this was doing this for the first time, but apparently this is a follow up.
Mm. Um, I'm looking at some of the people reporting some of the scanner traffic, and I want to be careful what we put out there. But there was one tweet saying that there's a suspect or a subject um, with an AK-47 and a revolver, or a subject. I don't. Let me double check what I don't want to say the wrong thing about what it said. I think I'm missing the tweet now. Um, so it referenced somebody in the scanner traffic having those weapons.
Yeah, I mean, this is Arizona, yeah, in the middle of
True.
nowhere. So somebody having a rifle or an AK-47, to me, that's just okay.
Mhm.
The thing that people need to be concerned about is those coyotes howling at all hours of the night while they were out there, filming and doing stuff. That was quite interesting.
Yeah. Um, they have this is a pretty good video too. It just shows the FBI and the sheriff's office. This is Brianna Whitney. I believe she's one of the local reporters. I think I have to be following her. No, I'm somebody I follow is following her. So let me pull this up. She posted a video showing everybody going door to door. So this is kind of some of what is going on right now. Joe, you and I covered the Idaho murders together. We know what goes on here with these cases. And we know what's been going on. They've been doing geofence work. This is some video that Brianna Whitney, one of the CBS local reporters, posted of the FBI and sheriff's officials going door to door asking people, "Hey, they're canvassing," is basically what they're doing. Um, I get that they're canvassing now. We don't know if they canvassed this neighborhood earlier, but
Yeah, they have. This is what I believe. This is Annie's neighborhood. This isn't Nancy's neighborhood.
right. But have they canvassed? Did they canvass Annie's neighborhood prior to this, like last week?
Well, from what I've understood is that yes, they were in the neighborhood. I don't know if they were doing the door to door neighborhood canvas stuff like they're
Mhm.
doing now, speaking to, um, you know, homeowners directly. I mean, this is if this is the first time they're doing this. I mean, I would have thought that they would have done this the first time, the first week, because Annie's daughter and her husband play a role in, like, she was there that night, so she was
Mhm.
at their house having dinner. Listen, you want to talk to neighbors, and you never know what you can hear about it. Did you see any cars leave? Did you see anything go? Did you notice anything unusual, and all those other things?
Mhm. Christy RN says SWAT wasn't on Annie's street where they were searching her neighbors' yards. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, well, we don't know where SWAT went, but they mobilized. We
Right.
had two SWAT trucks left. We don't know exactly where they are.
But this
Which,
tweet says that the sheriff's officials and FBI were going door to door talking to neighbors near the home of Annie Guthrie, Nancy's daughter. That is her
Mhm.
older daughter, Savannah's older sister. Are they dotting I's and crossing T's, hoping? What do we read into this, if anything,
Well, like I
Joe?
said, I think it's just about tips. They got a
Just
couple of
about
phone calls
tips,
in. Yeah, just about tips because first of all, anybody who's any worked in law enforcement, they'll tell you they don't believe in coincidences, right? So
right?
a couple hours prior, you had this big drop of this video and the still photos, and then the next thing you know, you're mobilizing SWAT teams and you're doing neighborhood canvases. That's not a coincidence. And what they're probably doing with the SWAT teams, including whatever equipment that the FBI has, is that they're creating a staging area somewhere
Mhm,
that is close to the scene, but not at the scene. So when
mhm,
people are wondering where these trucks are, that's where they are.
mhm. Um, yeah, it's pretty wild. I know they're waiting for the tips. Why wait till today? I know the tips are coming in now that this video has been released, but why wait to release this until today? This had to have been a strategic move on the part of the FBI and the sheriff's office to decide to release these today and not yesterday. So what do you
Well,
make of that?
yesterday was the big deadline, right? So yesterday was
Right.
the 5 p.m. deadline, and they weren't going to do anything on that day. But if you start to think about Savannah Guthrie's video that she made, asking the public for help and all these, not even if you don't live in Tucson, we want you to, if you saw something, say something. And then, 12 hours later, we're getting this video getting released. So it's almost as if they were priming everybody to get them ready to be part of this investigation in like one of those see something, say something kind of moments.
Yeah. This is another. Oh, let me share my screen again and show this to you.
That's when he's pulling the weeds. I mean, in one of the still photos, you could see that the suspect here he has a mustache, but it's neatly trimmed. You can see the lips and the outline of that through the hole in the mask.
Do you think that these kidnappers, Joe, are the ones who, I mean, I'm asking you to speculate, of course, but do you think that these are the same people who sent the ransom emails?
Well, that's really tough to say. I mean, at this point, we saw one scammer get caught already, and then we saw this next one, pop into the whole mix too. So I what I do believe is that the whoever it was made a mistake by releasing that wallet so soon into the investigation, which gave the FBI and whoever else they wanted to choose as partners to
Time.
investigate that wallet. They gave him plenty of time. They gave him like 6 days or 7 days head start.
Yeah.
And, you know, listen, folks, there's nothing you do on the internet that's anonymous. I don't care what anybody tells you. Oh, Bitcoin, the transactions are anonymous. No, they're not. The only thing that the Bitcoin exchange really lets you do is that it avoids regulation of a bank, which can stop a transfer. So the thing is, it goes through the system like a locomotive, and it makes it difficult for it to be traced and then cashed out eventually. But it still has to go through an exchange. So they're working on just that. And if you don't think like the FBI and the Secret Service and the SEC and everybody else who was involved in all these things aren't a part of this. I mean, you had the President of the United States talking about this publicly. Every federal agency that has anything to do with money wire transfers in this investigation, cell phone records, internet records, is involved in this.
Um, yeah.
And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the NSA was involved either.
Interesting. Do we think I'm looking at this. Do we because in one of the pictures he doesn't look like he's got the backpack on.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, is this do you think this is a one person job? And I'm
Well,
trying to
if
see if there's a vehicle that we can and there I don't see a vehicle, but
yeah, those two pictures, I still think it's the same guy. He just took his backpack off and put it down on the ground. When you first see him walking towards it, it looks like as if he's coming from our point of view, he's coming stage left.
mhm.
And it looks like he was actually walking across the grass. He doesn't look like he was on the path, direct walk on the path. So I think at this point he had put his because I said when he looks like when he bends over a couple times, it almost looks like it's heavy enough that he's losing his balance. So I just think he removed it because that zipper and everything else. And listen, he's got that thing all the way up to his neck. So
Yeah.
he is protecting his neck. Like, why would you want to do that? I mean, you're not going to really identify somebody by their Adam's apple, but you could identify him by a scar or a tattoo or a beard or something else. I mean, that to me, that's what he's trying to hide there. And when he steps up there, because it looks like there's a little bit of a step up, we can get a good estimation about how tall this guy is based on that arch, right? We can. I would send somebody out there with a ruler and measure that arch, and then come up with a height.
Mhm.
And I would
Yeah,
probably
that
say, if I had a
that's
guess, yeah, he's about anywhere from 5'8", 5'10", around that size,
mhm.
give or take an inch or two. And I bet she's about 185.
I was seeing some people talk too about where they believe he purchased the backpack and some of the other items.
Yeah, well, I don't know how cold it gets in Tucson, but I don't know if it gets cold enough in the wintertime that you need a ski mask, right? Unless you go, I guess, is there skiing in
No, I
Tucson?
I think the ski mask was simply obviously it was to disguise this person, but they didn't do a good enough job.
Yeah, and it just see how this is the video I was talking about. See, as he's looking, he's coming from stage left. He's not coming from either the right or straight ahead, which means if he did take a car, he parked it out there because he knew the car would be in direct line of the cam.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, if you said, Joe, do you think he's ever been there before? I would say yes. And that's
What do
why I
you
would
make
pull all the video.
so sorry, Joe. What do you make of the way that he's got that firearm positioned?
Yeah, like I said before about the knapsack. It would sometimes you get if you have a knapsack on and you have a gun in your hip. If you move a little bit either way when you're walking, it hits the gun and it becomes uncomfortable. So I
Mhm.
mean, for years I had a pistol um, holster that I would have tucked in my groin area,
Mm.
and it's it sometimes it's not that comfortable sitting, but when you're walking around, it is. I mean, you have a gun on your hip, and sometimes it could create a bulge. When you have it on and you have a jacket on and you pull it down, nobody really even notices it there.
Mhm.
But this one's unusual because it's rather large for something. Excuse me. And you need some sort of belt or something to hold on to it. It looks like he's wearing like a sweatpants or running shoes. Excuse me, running pants.
Afton Fared is in the chat. Hi,
Yes.
Afton. So good to see you. She says if
Yes.
he shaved his beard ASAP, people who would know him would notice that. Your thoughts
Yes.
on that?
Hey, Afton, how are you? Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this is what happens when you release the video. People try to change their appearance, to dye their hair, they get rid of the beard and mustache. Um, you know, but this is what you deal with. But like Afton said, somebody would know that you shaved your beard.
It's just horrifying to me. Joe, a lot of people were texting me earlier and saying, "Hey, I think that possibly, there could because because the kidnapper is removing the actual camera. Is it possible that this person captured Nancy on video? We don't know how soon after the person removed the camera that, or the flowery, weedy, whatever that was, because you can see it in some of the color photographs, wherever they grab that
Yeah.
flowery stuff, the green stuff, plant stuff. We don't know how soon after that it was removed, the camera.
Right.
However, somebody suggested to me, like, I wonder if part of the actual abduction was captured by this camera, and then this person has the camera or what have you. Do you think that that is a possibility?
Well, anything's a possibility, but I don't think it's likely. I mean, this guy knew this camera was there. He's painstakingly trying to hide his face from it. He's doing all that. So, if you're going to remove a body or walk a victim out, I don't think that's the way to go and have the camera there and then get that all caught on tape.
Mhm.
So we learned a couple of things, and so did the bad guys at this point. That even if you remove the camera, the video that gets recorded is still available to law enforcement. So that to me is a home run in regards to that because it acts as a deterrent. So when people's going to try to do this next time, they're still going to get caught on video, and now they know it for sure, and that's a good thing. But the one thing that they keep on telling us is that the garage door was opened and then the garage door was closed for about 2 minutes, right? They keep on, but they never ask, or they never tell us, or no one. I have yet to hear a reporter ask, "Is there any more um, openings and closings of the
Right,
garage?" Because
right.
they were searching her car, or I don't know if they took her car, or they confiscated her car, or they were searching it. So if they think she was moved in her own car, well, they had to leave the garage, right? But then we also have all this blood droplets in the front. So, right now, nobody knows for sure. But the thing that comes down to is there are probably a lot more of these details that we are made unaware of,
Hmm.
and it's always the case. I mean, law enforcement, everything that you see is already, like I always say, at least days old or sometimes even longer. So that's why I said to you that I believe this was had they had this for a couple of days already.
I don't think that's I don't I mean I could be wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but as I don't think the FBI just releases stuff willy-nilly. I mean it's very possible they got this stuff back in the last 24 hours, but you believe they've been holding on to it.
Oh, I believe they have it. Yeah, for at least a day or two. Like I said, yesterday would have been a terrible day to release this because you were dealing with the deadline. So I don't, and I don't blame them for holding on to it. Like I said, you want to be able to investigate this, and you want to be able to see if you can catch this guy because now he's on the run. He's not staying around.
Mhm.
He's seen his picture plastered all over the world. Even though he covered up, you still don't know because somebody could still recognize the clothing or his pattern of walk or that knapsack and or his shoes. And he's just, he knows that the gig is up. So now he's got to get out of Dodge.
Do you think that the geofencing I assume they've done the geofencing, and can they do that rather quickly, and do you think that that's yielded any good results? Because geofencing, that could return, depending on how big the fence is, if you will, that could return thousands and thousands of different phones.
Well, it could, but this isn't like Brooklyn, right? Where you have, you know,
True.
3 million people living in a real small area. This is all of these properties, from what I understand, are at least an acre or more, so it's kind of spread out. And I don't know how many cell tower or how much cell tower coverage they have. So I think geofencing is a good move. One of the things that I've been asking for to find out if anybody, and I'm going to throw it out to for your audience, is have they said anything about was there a Wi-Fi router in the house? Did she have internet access in the house? Like was she streaming her videos or movies or and what have you? And the reason why I'm asking that is because I believe this person has been here before, and if it's been a worker or what have you, acquaintance, uh, generally they have their cell phones connect to the Wi-Fi. Now, if they've been there before and they're a friend or family, it's going to connect to the exact network.
Mhm.
If it's they've been there before but they haven't been connected, it still will show up on the Wi-Fi router. We've all been to locations where you get a notification on your phone that says the following Wi-Fi is here,
Mhm.
and you want to connect. So the Wi-Fi and the router, I think law enforcement is not paying those types of electronic data enough as far as I'm concerned, but you can learn an awful lot from a router.
Mhm. Most definitely. I just think somebody, and I'm gonna zoom in a little more on this photo, those eyes, uh, somebody is going to recognize those eyes, and we can see a little bit of the eyebrows. If you know this person, and I assume it's a man, if you know this person, you're going to possibly recognize the gait, the way that the guy was walking, and the eyes. I'm looking at those eyes, and they're kind of almond shaped and distinctive. And then the eyebrows look pretty dark.
Mhm. And there's a good shot of him his mustache, and that it's a nice one of my people in my stream either today or yesterday said he looked like he's manscaped. It was it was cut
Manscaped.
very cut nice to it. It wasn't all hairy and fuzzy and all one of those kind of things.
I have seen some people pointing out who they think this person may be. I'm not going to indict
Yeah,
anybody on this stream at all,
no,
because it could be anybody really.
yes,
But
you
there's
can't
another look.
tell. Yeah, I mean, unless you know this person, you can't tell. See if you could find the one with the mustache. It's not. It's part of this whole. Um, Maybe not on this one.
There's a couple of different ones I tweeted out today.
Yeah, Twitter's been a fire with this case. It
Right.
is, this is like, I think it's even more so than Brian Kohlberger case. Even before they knew who it was,
That's
because
interesting
of
that you say that.
well, I do, and the reason why I do is because of the fact that I think as people are becoming more involved with these cases, they're learning a lot more about the law, about the police work, and they're pretty much invested in it. Like, I did a show this afternoon, and I can tell you something. My buddy Mike Alcazar, you had him on here
Yes.
the other night.
Mike
Yeah, so
Alcazar,
Mike,
yes. He
yeah,
was on
Mike
here
Alcazar,
Saturday night with me.
right. So Mike joined me, and we were talking about it, and he made a great point. Of course, after the show, I told him, I said, Mike, you always come up with these good points after the show.
Right.
But he said, it, people get an inside view about exactly what we did in the detective squad, where you get a video of a crime and you sit down with your group of detectives and you watch it and you pick it apart and you look for certain things, the clothing, the gait, the any other mannerisms that he could have. There it is. And any other mannerisms that the person has. And you go through this, and then it kind of dawned on me. I'm like, you know what, Mike, you're right. And he goes, and then he turns around and says, we had 1,000 detectives looking at this, where maybe we'd only had 5 or 6, and we have 1,000 people in the room looking at this, and that's the kind of crowdsourcing that you can actually get some good stuff done. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's good that you throw these things out there to the public without naming names, without speculating, because that's not a good thing. Because you get somebody hurt. We saw that with the Koberger case, where
Right.
people were just being maligned and accused, and it's just not cool. So, I'm not getting involved in that game, and I know you're not either. But even people have to understand that there could be consequences for naming names.
And there could be, and we have to be really careful because we don't know who's involved in this. Only the people who will recognize this person or who were involved or who may suspect somebody was involved, the evidence will tell the story. So even if somebody was being looked at early on, it doesn't mean that they, are a suspect per se. I don't think just because somebody is looked at, it doesn't make them a suspect.
No, we
Um,
look at so many people, and listen, yes, people are victimized by someone they know most often. I get it. And this was a two parallel. Listen, let me talk about redundant. This was a parallel investigation from the beginning. The FBI and the sheriff's department were looking at one, that this was a legit kidnapping for ransom, and the second one was the usual, the friend, acquaintance, family. And that's basically how this investigation goes. And this is what you do: you run a parallel investigation until the evidence and the information you have points you more in a direction than the other. And that's
mhm.
basically how these things are done. It's not rocket science. It is the scientific method, though. You go through these things, you build the hypothesis, you test the hypothesis, you go through all these different aspects of it, and even in law enforcement, we don't start naming names, even within our own group, because you tend to get them the bias, the confirmation bias, like, okay, this is our guy, and now we're going to concentrate solely on him. And listen, it could be him, but not him in regards to, like, he didn't do it, but he hired somebody else to do it. So somebody could be, indirectly involved in some of this stuff. That will all come out because the cell phone records, the internet records, the video surveillance, all that will tell the tale once they identify who this guy is.
Um, yeah, and I'm just looking at Twitter a little more as you're talking, Joe. And here's the shot of the mustache, I believe that you were referring to. If
Yes,
you look, that's definitely a mustache, definitely
yes,
darker hair.
yes. And
Um,
you can also see
and
his
I
lips.
should bring that up in the Idaho case when all of the documents were released. We saw that they had a potential suspect early on, and they tested this person's DNA against the DNA on the knife sheath, and it came back, and it was not a match. And it sounded like they were pretty deflated about that. But it just goes to show you can have a potential suspect, and guess what? Nothing. You know.
Yeah, well, you need the evidence to prove it, right? This is, Twitter or Facebook or any of these social media posts. It's easy to throw a name out there and say, well, how do you not know? Well, listen, I can't go to the district attorney and say, I know it's the guy. I know it's him. Look at him. He looks guilty, right? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, they got to build a case. You got to collect the evidence. I mean, when you look at this, when you look at this picture, you try to build the face out of this. I'm sure they're trying to do it with facial recognition, or maybe even artificial intelligence to try to build this out. But it's going to be interesting. And if this thing turns out to be that this is a kidnapping and these are the ransom people, boy, oh boy, and Jeanette, this is going to rewrite textbooks for how law enforcement handles future kidnappings and ransoms.
Because it's a 21st century kidnapping for sure. And still,
Well, the playbook has changed. They didn't go
yes,
directly to the
definitely.
family. They didn't go directly to the family. They went to the news outlets first, the local one, and then I guess they didn't get anywhere, or they went to TMZ, or vice versa. Right? Sending it to TMZ, they knew exactly what they were going to do with it. Yeah, so it's pretty incredible when you think about it.
Well, and I don't think this is shocking. TMZ is saying, and say what you will about TMZ, but they sometimes have very reliable information. They're saying that, and this would make sense, that law enforcement believes the kidnapper is from Tucson, and I think that would only make sense, that the person would be local.
Yeah, I don't think you're going too much out on a limb there.
No.
Um, I mean, he didn't fly in from somewhere and do this. This is a local person who knew this camera, knew the layout. They knew she'd be alone. I mean, they had a lot of information. But my question is why? Why this target? I mean, she is so risky. She's elderly. She's got a heart problem, the pacemaker, the medication that she requires. She walks with a cane. I mean, all of these things do not, to me, add up as the ideal hostage. I don't want to be dealing with this.
Mm-hmm.
And when you kidnap somebody and they die, it automatically turns into a federal crime. So you're looking at the death penalty. So this the risk to me. Bad guys always do the cost benefit analysis. What's the risk versus what's the benefit? Yeah, people say, well, $6 million is a lot of money. Yeah, okay, but you also picked an asset that could be worthless next week.
Joe, listen to this. Brian Enton is saying, and I'm on TMZ's website. Brian Enton is saying TMZ is reporting that there's activity in the Bitcoin account. I'm looking for that right now to see what TMZ is reporting about that. So, what do you make of potential activity in the Bitcoin account?
I don't know. I mean, the deadline was yesterday, 5 p.m. If you were worried about keeping her alive, they said that if you didn't give us the money by yesterday, 5 p.m., we're going to kill her, right? That's basically the message. So it's it's 7:42 here on the East Coast. So it's 2 hours mountain time. So you're looking at, 5:42 their time. So yesterday, so almost a little more than 24 hours later. That's interesting.
Yeah. So apparently he was on, Harvey Levin was on, I'm getting a text that he was on CNN with Aaron Burnett saying that there's been activity in the Bitcoin account. Now, if you guys are just joining us, thanks for joining us. This is Joe Jackalone with me here, True Crime with the Sarge host on YouTube. Bitcoin, the Bitcoin account, there was a Bitcoin wallet sent with to TMZ with one of the ransom notes. And apparently there's been activity, according to what Brian Enton is tweeting, in the Bitcoin wallet. And this is according to TMZ.
Maybe
It
the
was within the
possibility.
last 15 minutes. They've seen activity in the Bitcoin account. This must have been on CNN.
Well, like I said, you have maybe
Yep,
well
it
we
was on
don't
CNN.
maybe we don't know yet, but maybe the kidnappers reached out to them and said, "Listen, maybe they did the proof of life, put the money in there. We didn't kill her yesterday." I
Harvey
don't know.
Levin tells CNN that around 15 minutes ago, so this would have been, you know, according to this tweet from 13 minutes ago, they saw activity in the Bitcoin account mentioned in the ransom note. He says his understanding is the activity is money going into the account.
Interesting.
So would Savannah pay the ransom $6 million into this Bitcoin account? Would she do that, Joe? Obviously, she already said, we will pay. We want our mom back.
Like I said, 24 hours after the deadline. I don't know.
Did the kidnappers reach out when
That's
they
what I said.
didn't
I mean,
pay?
the only thing I could think of is that they reached out. But like I said, if you notice the last two messages that Savannah put out, there was no demand for proof of life. Not yesterday's, but the day before was just basically we'll pay.
Yeah.
Yesterday's was a plea for the public. So a lot of the language was changed and different. What's interesting is I'm sure the bad guys are saying to themselves, did the FBI or whomever crack this account? Did they crack the wallet? Do they know where this is going? And that's to me is be interesting to see. The money's there, or some money's there. You know, are they going to be too scared to go after it? Just like an old time ransom, where we're going to meet you in the cemetery and we're going to have a basket and we're going to send you all over the place and we're going to do all this stuff. Because they know that's the drop is when they're most vulnerable to getting caught. So
Mm-hmm.
now the drop is no longer, at the cemetery or under the bridge. It's online. It's on the internet. It's on this blockchain.
If let's all pray that Nancy Guthrie is alive and comes home to her family. I mean, Savannah said yesterday she believes her mom is out there. I don't see how she ever goes back to that house. Unless she's just, I mean, I'm sure she is a tough woman. She has been through hell if she has
It would be
survived
a
this.
miracle.
I was telling I just got a push alert from TMZ, so they've put their first story up about this. Let me click on that and see. But I was telling one of my coworkers earlier today that my stepdad, he has a pacemaker and heart issues, and he has some of the bruising that Nancy has, but not quite as bad. And he's on blood thinners and things like that. And I mean, just even the slightest, he can like brush up against something and start
Yep.
kind of bleeding really easily.
Paper cut.
Yeah. So it can, it doesn't take much. So I just hope to God she wasn't seriously injured in this. And I can't imagine she wasn't injured. 4:34 Pacific time. We've seen activity for the first time in the Bitcoin account listed in the first ransom note, which was sent to us here at TMZ and also to 2 TV stations in Tucson for various reasons. We are not going to reveal the amount, but the activity happened in the last 25 minutes. This is per TMZ. So TMZ is not revealing the amount that was deposited into the Bitcoin account, but they are saying there has been money deposited into the Bitcoin account.
Interesting. This case gets more baffling by the second. And I was just looking up when you were reading that. I was looking up and someone had written that TMZ reporting that the guy from the area, and that was within the last 10 minutes, there's been activity in the Bitcoin account. They
Yep.
said the ransom letters are real and are related to the guy who broke in. Don't know if that's true or not, but that's something I'm just reading right off of Twitter.
This would all make sense that the ransom letters are real since they went to Tucson TV stations. And Harvey Levin had said that early on, that he believed that the ransom notes were real because they went to local television stations. So you would only send those to local television stations if possibly you're monitoring the coverage. And one of the local TV stations got the note early on in this case, and decided it was KOLD, I believe, and they decided not to publish it. They called law enforcement right away instead of publicizing that they received it. Then one goes to TMZ. I'm assuming TMZ, because TMZ has a huge platform, and maybe they believe, oh, TMZ will blast it out. Maybe they have a direct line to Savannah Guthrie. Why they don't go to NBC, that's beyond me, unless they couldn't figure out how to send it through a secure tip line or to disguise their IP address or something like that, uh, in order to send it to NBC News. That's kind of my thinking on that. What are your thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's got to be reasons for this. I mean, you have to have a level of tech knowledge in order to do anything like this. I mean, most people like myself, I could turn the computer on, I could do some Microsoft Word, I could do the internet, and that's it. I mean, but these are some serious. Um, yeah, I don't know if they're hackers or they know what they're doing, they know how to do it and keep themselves uh, anonymous for now. For now, because I think that like I said, everything is traceable on the internet. I don't care what they tell you. I
It
was
is
I
all
always
traceable.
I always joke around when you're at work. You get the would you please take this anonymous survey, and then you're like, I'm not taking the survey, and then like 3 days later, we noticed you didn't take the survey. You're like, really? I thought this was anonymous. How did you know I didn't do it? So yeah,
Just checking Twitter for the very latest. Um, Looks like somebody was upset that I was quoting TMZ. Hey, they've got the news here, guys. That's who has the news here. They are a part of this case. They are a part of this story. They received the ransom note.
can't please everyone.
And they just tweeted it out. Joe, you and I looked at the story, but they just tweeted out the story in the last 25 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, TMZ has been at the forefront of this thing and said so are the other two agencies, but they didn't come forward with it. That's why, if you remember, about a half hour ago when we were talking about this, they knew exactly what TMZ was going to do with it. It wasn't going to be let's bury this.
Right.
Let's
They're
hand it
not
over
going to
to
call
law
the
enforcement.
cops first. They're going to.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
said. This is going to rewrite textbooks. The engagement of law enforcement in potential kidnapping ransom cases.
Joe, have you ever had a kidnapping case in all your years in law enforcement? I know you
Yes, I've had
were.
kidnapping cases, but I never had a ransom one.
Mhm.
Never had a ransom. I had a kidnapping where he abducted his ex-wife from Elmhurst Hospital. He shot the security guard at the hospital, abducted his wife right out of the emergency room, and he ended up getting on a bus, traveling all the way down to North Carolina. It was one of those 3 or 4 day chases throughout like 6 or 7 different states until they finally they finally caught him on another bus in North Carolina, and he had bought Chinese food, and somebody had seen him and dropped a dime on it. He had bought Chinese food, and when the cops entered the bus to look for him, he took the gun and put it in the Chinese food uh, styrofoam container, which was recovered along with the gun that matched the gun that was shot the security officer. So yes, I've had kidnapping cases.
Mhm.
You know, most of the things that we run into in law enforcement are these custodial interference things. Parents,
Right.
ex-parents taking the kid, whether it's through different countries, which I've had to deal with that too. That's always fun dealing with that, because some of these countries don't have the same rules that we do. But it's kind of interesting.
These stranger abductions, if this is indeed a stranger, and we don't know yet if it is
Yeah,
a
these are
stranger
very
to
rare.
Nancy Guthrie,
These are rare.
yeah, they're incredibly rare. And so is a request for ransom.
Yes. Listen, I think they end up in the end of the day, not end of the day, not like tonight, but they make an arrest in this case. Whether she's alive or not is a whole other question. Do they get charged with murder and the kidnapping, or do they get charged with the kidnapping and assault? whatever it may be, but they're looking at serious time.
If there's $300 as they're saying deposited into this, if that's accurate, why $300? I'm not quite understanding that.
At this point, could it be that somebody else has found out about it? That when somebody from TMZ leaked it to somebody else and they
And they're
hacked into
messing
the
around.
account? Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean that's always a possibility. $300 is like we're not even. Why are we even bother talking about this? The
right.
family's not doing $300, and like I said before, Anjanette, this is it's 24 hours later. I mean, if you're telling me that you're going to kill my mom at 5 o'clock and yesterday, and I let it, we let it go, we don't give the money, and then now all of a sudden, you know what? Maybe they meant today at 5 o'clock. Yeah, I'm not buying that.
Uh, Apparently they're saying less. I'm getting some text messages now. Less than $300. It was the amount. So that doesn't. And maybe that is now. This could be a false alarm, or it could maybe it's a test
Hmm.
too. I don't know
They
if
could be
you.
tested if it's a legit wallet.
Yeah,
Maybe there's a minimum that they need to put in.
I don't think they would broadcast that they were going to pay the ransom if they did that. If Savannah Guthrie paid the ransom, she's already said we'll pay. And then there was no further communication, the FBI said last night, with the kidnappers, between the kidnappers and the family. She said we will pay. But I can't imagine they just do a $300 test. Right now it's 7:56 p.m. Eastern time. That would be 5:56 Mountain time in Tucson.
Like I said, buckle up. Things could get interesting in the next few hours.
They really could. I think we're all learning a little bit more about Bitcoin too, Joe. Before we wrap this up,
Yeah,
the Bitcoin can be traced, as you said.
everything's
So,
traceable.
a lot of people I was hearing saying, oh, you can't really trace it. It's not that traceable, but it really is. You can trace it. It just depends on, it's my understanding, what country it might go to. Is that true?
Yeah, there's no the main difference between the Bitcoin and going through the bank. The banks can stop a transfer immediately. There's no way to stop a transfer once it occurs, meaning there's no backsies. You're not getting your money. You can't stop it and have it reversed, but you can follow it through the blockchain. You can follow it all through, and it has to go through a Bitcoin exchange. It has to go through a portal somewhere so they can track it. They'll know exactly what's going on in that respect. You got to remember something. You're dealing with individuals, men and women, who are tasked with protecting the president of the United States. If you don't think they were prepared to deal with things like this and that kind of stuff and not know how to do this, like this is their first time in the first rodeo, whatever, I think you're mistaken. I mean, this is the new frontier in regards to many things has been the internet. This, the money with the Bitcoin and all this stuff. I'm not an investor in Bitcoin because I don't understand it. I come from the Warren Buffett school of investing. If I don't understand it, I'm not investing in it. And it's so volatile that you could lose an awful lot of money in a matter of seconds. Yeah, that's not the way I like to invest.
Yeah, not the way I roll either. Let's play this, Joe. Someone posted the actual clip from Aaron Burnett's CNN show where Harvey Levin talked about this.
For any payments, what are you seeing?
So about 12 minutes ago, we saw activity in that account.
Activity like what?
I can't hear it. Did I lose you again?
And talk about. There are reasons I can't, but all I can say is there is now activity.
Joe, you can't hear that.
I can't hear the video. I can hear you now.
He's saying there's activity. There's been activity in the account, but he can't say. So that leads me to believe he's cooperating with law enforcement. Aaron Burnett asked him, like, what activity he's, he can't say what the activity is. Everyone, if you in the chat, if you can let me know, can you hear this? I'm hoping you can hear what's being played. I'll back it up again just in case you can't. I'm going to replay it, Joe. Hopefully you'll hear it this time. I'm going to turn it up a little more.
Checking for any payments. What are you seeing?
So about 12 minutes ago, we saw activity in that account.
Very low. It's very low for me.
Activity like what?
That's what I can't talk about. There are reasons I can't, but all I can say is there is now activity in that Bitcoin account.
Okay, now let me just ask one more question and you'll share with me what you can. But when you say activity, is that you can see money is going into the account, or are you able to tell whether it's money going in or going out?
Well, it would only show, as I understand this, money going in. And the only thing you would see is money. And Aaron, that's all I can say.
Okay, all right. So obviously that's crucial information. So you're saying about 12 minutes.
So basically, Joe, you said the audio was low there. That they're saying that money was going into the account. He couldn't say how much, but he could say that money was going in.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, like I said, I mean, maybe the feds are testing it out and seeing what's going on.
Maybe.
If, maybe they go on a fishing expedition, see if there's any bites at it.
Now let's look at our friend Brian Enton. He's out there on the ground. I'm going to show you, one of the mods sent this to me. So let's play this real quick. Oh, we're muted. That's not good. Here we go.
Nancy Guthrie investigation. First of all, TMZ is now reporting that there is movement in the Bitcoin account. Does that mean that Savannah Guthrie is paying the ransom? I don't know, but TMZ is reporting movement in the Bitcoin account. Really only TMZ can report this because they're the ones who got the first ransom letter and they're the ones who have the Bitcoin address. So we kind of just have to trust what they're reporting because we have no way to verify it. But that's what they're saying. Also, there's been activity at Annie's house. I was telling you, there's also 2 SWAT trucks that moved out of the sheriff's office about an hour ago. We're trying to figure out what's going on there. But what's interesting with what's happening at Annie's house is, I mean, it's dozens of FBI agents that were over there going door to door. One of the neighbors told us that the FBI agents asked for consent to search his property and said because they are looking for something that may have been dropped, which I thought was interesting. That's what they told the guy who lived there. So that's the latest. But the main thing is that's brand new is the activity in the Bitcoin account. So I'll keep you guys posted.
Okay. So looking for something that may have been dropped and then the activity in the Bitcoin account. What do you make of that?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, all this stuff is now coming to fruition as soon as they drop that video. So, if investigators, they have a plan. They know what they're doing. Are they baiting this guy or guys into doing something? They might be. I don't really know for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, everybody, please say a prayer for Nancy Guthrie and her family and for Savannah Guthrie and her family. Let's hope that they can find her. 1-800-CALL-FBI if you recognize the person in that video and in the photos. This has been horrific. Everybody, thank you to the mods. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We'll check in again here soon. Thank you, Joe, for joining me. It's been great having you.
Anytime, Angela.
Yeah, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Remember, we'd love to have you as a subscriber, so please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.